Combat Insiders. Joshua Furs here. Nick Portella way over there on the opposite side. We have middleweight boxer Connor Coyle, 8-0 undefeated. What's going on, man?
Oh, good. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Hey, man, our absolute pleasure for taking the time to come on, man. So, our absolute pleasure. So, you're fighting in a few days, right? You're fighting Travis Scott, St. Petersburg, Florida. So, you're right in the middle of fight week here. I guess, talk to us real quick. How was your camp going into this fight? Kind of what's a loose game plan you got for Travis?
Well, we've had a very good camp. I'd like to start off with that. We've had plenty of rounds of sparring with Yamaguchi Falco. He's ranked number 8 now with WBC, so he's number 8 in the world. So we've had 30 odd rounds of sparring a week with him. We've had our mixture of sparring with other guys coming into the gym and Spinergy. So Travis Scott, we know he's a slick boxer, and he's sort of negative. He pulls back a lot, and I know he's going to be on his bike, so he's going to keep moving. So our game plan is just to put the pressure on and try and break him down in a few rounds.
A few rounds. I like that. I like that.
If we could, man, I guess back up a little bit. How did you get involved in boxing?
Well, the funny thing is, boxing actually runs in my family. My great-grandfather and great-uncle, Spider Kelly. My great-grandfather started in the 1920s. He's over 200 professional fights. He actually started fighting on the boats, going back and forth.
The riverboat fights.
Scotland and stuff like that.
Woo!
Then he went on, won the British Empire and Commonwealth title. Then his son followed them in the 1950s and won the same titles. So they were the first father and son. They won the first titles and that. So it runs in my family.
So what age did you actually start? Because you're still a very young man and you're doing big things. But what age did you actually start getting into the gym or training boxing or any of that stuff?
Well, I was 12 years old when I first passed my boxing club, St. Joseph's, in Ireland, Derry City. And I heard the music pumping, and me and a couple of my friends were passing, and we were on our bikes. And we just walked in to see what all the noise was about, and we ended up staying there for the week training and stuff. And then they left and never came back, and I just stayed there ever since.
It was like, oh, there might be a party. All right, they're fighting. Let's just stay.
The music was loud, so I wanted to see what was going on.
and look where you are. I'm actually looking at your boxing rec, and I like looking these things up. Because when you're new, like you have 8 fights, so you still count as fairly new.
Yeah.
But you fought guys with 40, 50, 60 fights. What's it like so early in your career getting in there with guys that their experience is like through the roof?
Well, them guys in my earlier fights, they would be clearly known as journeymen, and they'd be putting in for young prospects coming up through. But they're always tough, and they're always going to be there in your face. They're not very many of them be stopped. But I have a great amateur career. I've been boxing for roughly 15, 16 years before I turned professional. So I have a lot of fights under my belt as an amateur. I say I have over 140 amateur fights. And that goes on top with the amount of sparring, around the sparring. So I have a lot of experience under the belt myself as an amateur. And I've travelled the world through that. So now when I turn professional, I feel like I can be sort of fast-tracked through that. We've had 2 years building up over them last 8 fights, and now we're ready to make a step up this year.
The more wins you get, and the more you're, being undefeated and having the O, does it almost put a little bit more extra pressure on yourself not to lose that O?
Well, the pressure is always going to be there, especially if you're undefeated. But I don't crumble under pressure. I like the pressure. I like people say crumble on the bigger stages and the more hype of the event. But I soak up all that energy and I do better from that. So
that makes it more dangerous.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this one, because I've talked to MMA fighters and boxers with similar where they're undefeated at the moment. Some of them say it's almost as if when they go in they're having to kind of defend that O, right? And then some guys are like, no, I approach the fight the same way regardless. I'm not letting that extra pressure of defending the O kind of get to me. Do you feel like as if you're kind of defending that O going in?
Well, definitely, you're going to feel you don't want to lose that O, as they say. You always want to have that on your record.
Yeah.
But I don't be thinking of that when I'm in the ring. I just know I want to win. I don't think about the losing part. I just have in my head that I want to win. I don't think about the it's going to go. So I just focus on myself and making sure I won every round if possible, and if not, most of the rounds throughout each fight.
I want to kind of hype train you a little bit. As we were setting up this interview, and I'm not going to tell you who said it because it doesn't matter, but at least half a dozen people told me to my face that you would be a world champion and remain undefeated. Isn't it cool that people think so highly of what you're doing already?
Definitely. So that is our goal. I'm in it to be a champion. I'm not in it to go halfway. I want to go the whole way to the top.
I hope he makes it. We could say we knew him when.
So you're like I said, you're a few days out from the fight. Weight's all right. Everything's on point. Any injuries? How you feeling? Healthy? Things like that.
Everything's good. This is probably the first camp I've had no problem with my hands and sparring and stuff like that. That's how we've got so many rounds of sparring on each week. I've actually purchased the winning gloves for sparring and for training camp. It's my first time buying them, and now I'm sorry I haven't bought them years down the line before when I was getting all these hand injuries throughout training. So they've been really helpful this camp, and we're going into this fight 100%.
Where do you see yourself? Like Nick was saying, like you said, we've had a lot of people tell us that you're going to be an undefeated champion, but from your perspective, what is your definitive goal? Obviously, you want to keep winning, but where do you see yourself 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
3 years, 5 years from now, I would like to see myself as a world champion. Definitely. I don't see. I'm not looking past them what I'm going to be doing after boxing, but within them 5 years, I would like to be fighting for a world title, if not already have a world title.
Is there anybody when you see somebody's name on the card? Is there anybody when you see their name you're like, I've got to stop what I'm doing and watch this fight?
On the card now on the 16th.
Just in general.
No, I mean like in general, like what's somebody that you like watching like to watch fight? Just anybody. Who excites you?
Well, I would like watching Canelo. I like Canelo, Triple Z. I like Billy Joe Saunders, Errol Spence. I like all those types of fighters. Keith Thurman, and they're all exciting fighters. There's a few handfuls that I would sit and stop and watch the guys fight. There wouldn't be just the one person,
I like Vassal. He looks like he's in the Matrix all the time.
Oh, definitely. I can't believe I haven't said him.
Yeah.
I knew he was on he's on everybody's list. That's just, what it is. So now the big question, and this is not a question to stir the pot per se, but you're going to the fight to win. That's just what it is.
Of course, yeah.
If you had to put a prediction on this fight, how do you see it going?
Well, because I've had from my last fight, I've had a little layoff. But me and Travis Scott, we both fought. Our last fight was both roughly around the same time last year, so we're both going into the fight equal for this fight. So I would like it to go at least 4 to 6 rounds. I would like to box. I would like to show off some skill sets. But I definitely would like to finish the fight. I would like a KO towards the end.
He wants to put in work. I want to show everybody what's going on. You don't get that answer that much. That's not an answer you get all the time, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, where can people reach out on social media?
It'll be Connor Coyle, Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. Also Twitter. I think it's CJ Coyle 07 on Twitter. But mainly just Connor the Kid Coyle. They would be able to get me on social media.
We'll hunt you down on Twitter. Don't worry.
There you go. We'll hunt you down, man. I guess any shout-outs to any sponsors or anything like that? Shout-out to your gym, anything like that?
I'd like to shout out my coaches at home, Cahir Duffy, Kevin Duffy, and Liam McLaughlin. They've been pushing me on since I was 12 years old, and they've always made sure I was in the gym, even at the weekends when most of the people was out partying and stuff. And also shout out the Spinergy Fitness, Jim Conahan, here in St. Petersburg, and Jim McLaughlin and John Vinciguerra. I'd like to give a shout out to them as they're progressing me now in my professional career. So I'm excited to see how far we can go now with these.
So when you're 9-0, you're going to come back on and talk to us.
Oh, of course.
Sound good?
Yeah.
We're setting it up now, man. We have faith in what we have seen and heard.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got to set it up now. Well, look, guys. Once again, go check him out. He's 8-0 right now, undefeated. Connor Coyle. This weekend on the 16th versus Travis Scott in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you're in the area, please go check it out. Like I said, for Nick Portella, for Josh Furs, that's Connor Coyle over there. And we're Combat Insiders, and we're out.